What is going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 61 of our Cincinnati Reds franchise, and in today's episode we are going to be doing a 2020 off-season simulation as well as a 2021 regular season simulation. Hopefully we make the playoffs, but regardless, all of it is going to take care of the 2021 season. So next episode, next Friday, will be the 2021 off-season and the 2022 regular season simulation. And then I think from that point we should be pretty good on having an understanding about how your young Reds are going to be performing, guys, as far as, like, let's say Tyler Mahle, Hunter Green especially. You guys will want to be watching out for Pavin Smith. You guys want to be watching out for Nick Senzel, Taylor Trammell as well. Wow, Senzel, Taylor Trammell as well. So I just totally rhymed, big time. Okay, so first things first, guys, let's take a look at the awards section. Let's take real quick and see who won all these awards here. So the World Series MVP was Cody Bellinger. Most valuable player was Cody Bellinger. So obviously when the Dodgers won the World Series last season, you know, he had a big role to play in that. Mike Trout hit 50 home runs. So obviously he's going to win the American League Most Valuable Player. Chris Sale wins the Cy Young in the American League. National League, Clayton Kershaw, almost a 20-game winner, is going to win the National League Cy Young. Rendon, National League batting title, and Mike Trout, American League batting title. Reliever of the Year, American League, Alex Colomé with 50 saves. Mark Melancon with 46 with that 1.12 ERA. That's pretty solid there, guys, if I do say so myself. Jack Mayfield, 29-year-old rookie, wins the Rookie of the Year in the American League, hitting .234 and 10 home runs. Nick Thorne, 267, 10 home runs for the Miami Marlins, wins National League Rookie of the Year. Hank Aaron Award, Anthony Rendon, 35, and Mike Trout, there you go, for 50. So we're not going to look at the Silver Slugger or the Gold Gloves, even though that's my namesake. We're just not going to do that just for time purposes. So let's go ahead and simulate into the off season. Take a look at some retired players just real quick to see some names that we are fully aware of. Dustin Pedroia retires finally, right? Hit .275 last season, only played in 30 games. I don't know if that's because he was doing like a backup role or whatnot, but you know, he had some really good seasons in his career for the Boston Red Sox, and you know, sad to see PD go, but you know, all good things come to an end. I remember when he made his major league debut, guys. This is crazy. It's crazy how time flies. That was my graduation year in high school. God, that's kind of annoying, actually. Alejandro De Aza retires. Jacoby Jones, injury. Ooh, the injury. Torn MCL. He's done. His baseball career is done. Ronald Torreyes, injury, torn ACL. So you guys gotta watch out for those torn ACLs. This is why I'm really worried about Taylor Trammell, because he did have that big injury last season. Luke Gregerson retires. Gordon Beckham retires. Chris Johnson, John Neese, David Freese. A lot of you guys might not even know who these players are, just based on them kind of being a little bit older. You guys might be a little bit younger. You're not aware, but yeah, I've watched a lot of baseball over the years, and you know, a lot of these guys have had their time in the limelight for sure. Shin-Soo Choo, former Cincinnati Red, is retired. Yeah, he only played one season for the Reds, hit 21 home runs. Not bad. Tommy La Stella, one of my favorite players, retires. John Lester, aren't you guys glad that we didn't make that trade? Joey Votto for John Lester, trying to shave some payroll, right? Because Lester retired, we would have gotten nothing out of that deal except for spending ability. That's pretty much it for the retirees. Socrates Brito, a Vince Scully favorite. Just if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. It's amazing. He always talks about Socrates Brito. 2020 Hall of Fame inductions, nothing doing. All right, so real quick, decision making on Brad Hand and AJ Pollock. Real quick, I'm not gonna re-sign Brad Hand. Put simply, I think AJ Pollock is our go-to guy in this situation. I want to sign him for one season at a 4.1. I think that's going to give us some stability out there in the outfield. And again, the only reason why I'm doing that is because I'm very concerned. Very concerned. If this was real life, I would do the exact same thing because I'm concerned about Taylor Trammell and his ACL. and that situation. He is going to make the Major League roster, so no worries about that, no qualms about that. But, you know, let's give A.J. Pollock one more season. I think he's deserved it. He gives us a little more pop. It gives us some good defense and some speed. 280, 22 bombs, 71 ribbies last year. Pretty on par with what he's always done when healthy. Keyword, when healthy. In 2019 for the Angels, either he was out or he just had a lot of time off. I'm not sure. So 272 with 8 home runs. So definitely the move from LA to Cincinnati to Great American Ballpark is helping A.J. Pollock for sure. Right field is an issue for us. Technically, we could give Aquino the job, but I'm not comfortable in that given his porous batting. I mean, you're going to get a lot of home runs from him, but that batting average is almost like Adam Dunn. I mean, like, that's the kind of situation you're really looking at. Technically, we could give Winker the job out in right field or Taylor Trammell. But again, I think that, you know, really using Trammell as kind of as a wild card, as a bench role type of guy right now, it would be really good. Pavin Smith, first base, for the first time, he's tied with Joey Votto in overall rating alone. So he's 12 years younger. The move that a lot of you guys want to see me make in this episode is moving on from Joey Votto, really helping out our cash flow. Give Pavin Smith the job at first base. I mean, look at those numbers, guys. 64, 65, 72, 66, 73, right? He's technically, he's better than Joey Votto is right now. The power numbers are just not there for Votto anymore. But the contact is what feels like I need to keep him around. Seriously. The 60 vision, though, so he's not even walking that much anymore, guys. I mean, look at the walk totals from last year, 75 to 88, right? So every year, it's progressively gotten down, down, down. Strikeouts are going up. The right move would be to move on from him. The only question now is, because we're in this off-season mode, even if you wanted to trade him, there's people that are not signed yet. There's people left on rosters who don't even have a contract signed with them yet. So the offers are going to be very, 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 very limited and very scarce, right? So we got to come up with some more creative ways to shave some cash flow off of the weeks and then use that money to try to sign some free agents, or even just take care of our in-house stuff like getting A.J. Pollock or some other players that we're going to see in just a few moments. So the reason why I'm deciding to let go of Brad Hand, very simple. Very, very simple. Andrew Miller and Jose Leclerc. These two guys can do that kind of spot relief type of thing, that closer by committee type of deal. You know, this was almost unnecessary, right? Brad Hand, Miller, Leclerc. Basically, you fall in love with the overalls and you start thinking that things are going to work out in that back end, but then you don't get as many innings. You don't get as many innings. This isn't what we paid for, right? I mean, look at Andrew Miller right now. 26 innings, $7.6 million. We definitely did not get what we paid for out of Andrew Miller last season. And that's, you know, no fault of our own. That's just the way the CPU decided to put him in there into the games, right? We got 33 innings out of Jose Leclerc, so that's pretty much on par for what he was doing. And I'm kind of thinking that, I mean, we didn't even get that many out of Brad Hand. I mean, goodness gracious, or either that or we weren't in any situations to use those guys. I don't know, but you got to get this guy into some games here, and I feel like that would be a perfect way to do it, guys. Is just let Brad Hand walk, let Andrew Miller take over, or Jose Leclerc, and get that job done. So let's go on and continue on to free agency. All right, so we did end up getting A.J. Pollock, so I do like that. That's good. Knocked us down to $946 in cash flow, though. So we're going to have to make some moves in order to get our cash flow in a good situation. So let's continue on and see who are in the free agents. Okay, so 40-man roster right here. The guys that I'm really concerned about losing would be Kerry Mela and Jackson Stevens. So pretty young players. The other guys like Lombardozzi, Hernandez, Brugman, I'm not too concerned about losing them in the 40-man or the Rule 5. Just not. I know the B potential is enticing, but at 29 years old, they're kind of just, that's the way that they're going to be, right? So I'm not too concerned about setting that for another 16 days. I want to be able to leave that 40-man roster open in case we do sign some free agents to come over, because what I don't want to see happen, guys, is signing a big-time free agent and then having to have them down in AAA, having to then have to call somebody down that we don't want to call down to make room, and then you're going to lose them to trade waivers, and it's just, the offseason is full of sharks, right? And I just don't want that to happen. But okay, so pretty important screen here. We've got arbitration to talk about, and I'm not going to bring back the bottom three: Culberson, Garrett, Romano. So that might come as a surprise to a lot of you guys. I'm not going to bring Garrett or Romano back, but I'm looking at it from this perspective. Our starting pitching is very, very young, right? As far as depth goes. If I got rid of Romano and Amir Garrett, that leaves spots open for Tyler Mahle. That leaves spots open for Hunter Green. Definitely guys that you want more innings out of. You want to see more production out of, right? Amir Garrett, kind of, this is what you're going to get. You know, we've given him ample opportunity to improve and to show us something, but it just hasn't worked out. And even in simulation, it hasn't worked out. So Amir Garrett, you're probably going to end up being like a bullpen guy. But even then, our bullpen is absolutely loaded. So you don't even need to use him at that point. He's probably going to be a AAA starting pitcher. And given the amount of money that he's asking for, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to be, you know, paying $5 million per year for a AAA pitcher. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So Amir Garrett, I hope he finds a new home. Hope he does well. Sal Romano, kind of the same deal. I'll show you guys just how much money they're asking for. I mean, look at this. $5.3 million a year to be a AAA arm, right? So Amir Garrett, goodbye. And Sal Romano, 3.9 that he's asking for. That's not bad, but again, it's still the situation that I kind of lean towards getting a little younger at starting pitching. So we're going to let these two guys walk and say goodbye to 5.31 ERA. That's just not going to happen anymore. Jesse Winker, I do want to sign this guy for long term. I think that makes sense. Let's knock down some of that per week payroll. Let's get Jesse Winker in here for 4 more seasons. Leclerc, I'm looking at it like a 2-year deal. For me, I never like signing my bullpen guys to long term, because again, with pitching, you know, a lot can happen with injuries and Tommy John, and you don't want to get stuck paying all that money for those guys. That's the kind of downside of pitching and contracts, is you don't ever want those guys to leave you, but then again, you don't want to ever, you know, strap yourselves into a long-term contract that you just can't afford when a guy's really struggling off an injury or something like that. So Trey Turner, I want to bring him back for like 3 more seasons. I think that makes sense, especially when you're looking at a guy like him. He plays his heart and soul out every single day, and the power numbers are just not really there. That's really going to diminish here in the next couple years. If anything, he's only in here for contact purposes and defense and athleticism. So it's kind of, I mean, he's not a one-trick pony, but you know, he's not a guy that you want to spend a ton of money on. And I think that this is pretty fair. This is pretty fair. He's asking for 4.7. Let's give him the 4.8. That should be pretty solid. I think that we're going to end up getting these 3 guys as long as we can let these 3 guys walk, and we're okay there. Oh, looking at him for 2 more seasons. You know, 26 years old. I really want to see how he's going to pan out in like age 27, age 28. I don't know if he's going to be a backup outfielder for us right now. I just have to see how this is all going to play out. So we'll see where Aquino stands at the end of the free agent period. Ryan Franks, though, again, these types of AA players, and I think it's an age thing. Like, you can't offer a 19-year-old or a 21 to 21-year-old or something a long-term deal. So I think that that's just the way that the game is built. I don't know why it's built that way, but it will only let you go 1 year for a player like Franks. Bryce, I want to bring back Austin Bryce for 1 season at $570. That's not too bad of a deal. Tyler Stevenson, interesting scenario here. Take a look at this. Tucker Barnhart, 30 years old, 77 overall. Tyler Stevenson, 24 at 73. So what do you think the move is that I'm going to be making, guys, to save some cap, to save some space? It's trading Tucker Barnhart. You guys are correct. And when we look at what Tyler Stevenson is asking for at 4.1 for 3 years, this is a bargain. This is a bargain. If we can get Tyler Stevenson at this type of contract per 3 years, it's a steal. Is your tender contracts? We'll see how that pans out. We'll also see how the arbitration thing pans out as well. The thing is I didn't want to offer arbitration to any of these guys because I don't want these guys for 1 year, right? We need Romano gone, we need Garrett gone, and the top 3 guys there we need for long term, right? So it just didn't make any sense to get them around for 1 more season. So guys, this is where this episode gets kind of interesting to say the least. Look at the free agent list. This is absolutely stacked, okay? But we don't have the cash flow in order to make a big move. We just don't. Because after we sign these guys in tender contracts and after we sign the arbitration guys, we're just not going to have any room. I can promise you that. To sign Corey Kluber, look at this, what it's already doing to us, right? It's going to bump us down to $9,000 per cash flow. Even if we wanted to sign, just say Chris Archer. Chris Archer's in there. Gets us down to $566. Chris Archer might be doable. But what I don't want to see happen is going after a guy like Chris Archer and then signing him and then not being able to get Jesse Winker or not being able to get Trey Turner. Because then at that point, now you're in a bigger mess because now you have other teams that don't have players signed yet. Like, look at this. Trey Mancini is still working on a contract, right? Nick Wickren is still working on a contract. These are just some names, guys. Benintendi doesn't have a contract. Yeah, Edwin Diaz doesn't have a contract. So basically what I'm telling you guys is even if you wanted to trade some people to remove some cap, your list of available players to be acquired from other teams is really going to be slim. And so at that point, you're almost taking a discount at that point. And you don't want discounts, right? You want what you're getting rid of. You want the even return. So basically all of that being said, you don't want to be in a situation where you're stretched to the limit with cash flow. Because once you sign Chris Archer, if you can't get Jesse Winker or Trey Turner, then now you got to make some room and you got to trade some people away. And if you can't make any trades that are going to make sense for you, then you're screwed. You just screwed yourself, right? So what I want to do at this situation is do what we wanted to do in the first place, is trade Tucker Barnhart. Look at that cash flow now. Bumps up a little bit, right? And the trade that I'm going to make, is this one right here. We've had a concern in right field for a little while now since Scott Schebler has been gone. And this is the trade we want to do, is Seuly Matias. And once he gets signed, that is the move that I want to make. Check this guy out. If you don't know of him, look him up right now. Currently, in 2018, hit 31 home runs last season, right? Really good prospect. Some people were comparing him to Mike Trout numbers and Bryce Harper numbers per at-bat, how many home runs he was hitting per at-bat. Like, the guy has raw power. Arm is an 82. These are all things that when you're looking at a guy, you're like, okay, you can play some ball. All right, the vision needs some work. Speed needs a little bit of work. Don't know if you're going to get any quicker as a power corner outfielder. But the fielding and the arm is what's really lucrative to me, and so is the power at 22 years old. Right, so that is the trade that I'm looking at. That's the trade that I want to do. So we'll wait that out. We'll simulate a couple days here and see what's going to end up happening with the free agent market. But regardless of all of this, there's not much that I can do right now, guys, at 946 cash flow. There just isn't. Right? It's very, very enticing to go after some of these 30-plus-year-old players. But given the situation that we're in with our money, and given the situation that we're in with our current roster, our current state of the roster, this is a roster that should have done better than it did last year, right? So freaking out a little bit and starting to acquire all these players and really hitting your cash flow hard and degrading it might be a kind of a bad idea. We won the World Series last year with a less than talented roster. We got better in 2020, and then we just didn't perform. I don't know what it was exactly, but we just didn't get the job done. So basically what I'm telling you guys is don't freak out about, don't jump ship quite yet, right? Don't jump ship quite yet. And you might consider the fact that because I'm saying this now, you might be looking at me like, well, Gold, why did you trade Suarez? Why did you trade Schebler? Why did you trade some of these pieces if you truly feel like your team is ready to win now? And my argument to you would be it's to save cap. It's to save cap room because of the ever-looming issue that is Joey Votto's contract, right? He's got one more season with us. And I'm going to show you guys something here real quick that might kind of flip your thought process, but I'm transparent enough. I'm very transparent with you guys, but here's another deal. Look at how much the cash flow jumps now. 1.7. If you get rid of Joey Votto, it jumps to 1.7. My argument against this is if you decide to do that, the situation that you put yourself in is pretty much the same thing without the fact that you let Joey Votto stay a Cincinnati Red and retire a Cincinnati Red. Through the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, and then we trade him in his final year. You know what I mean? When you look at the situation, guys, this is what I'm getting at and why I'm not making the move to trade Joey Votto. If you acquire Corey Kluber, you've then just acquired a 34-year-old starting pitcher. Even if you're going after DeGrom, you're going after a 29-year-old starting pitcher. You're bumping Tyler Mahle and Hunter Green down in their progression scale. So they have to wait yet again to get their shot, to get their call up for a win now type of decision. Then you also have to consider the fact of how we did play last year. Am I not seeing it correctly? I could possibly not seeing it correctly then. If I'm looking at this roster and thinking, yeah, we can win right now. This should be good enough to win. But the results are what the results were last year with this roster. We didn't get it done. So the risk is if you trade Votto to get cap space and you go after Jacob deGrom or you go after Corey Kluber, you're getting an aging pitcher for a win now. You're stunting the growth of your younger players. Say you grab an outfielder, you're going to be stunting the growth of Taylor Trammell, right? You're going to be stunting the growth of Thomas Moore, possibly Roger Wimberly, right? Even if you acquire, you're getting rid of Votto for Pavin Smith to be your starting first baseman, right? Basically, you're stunning growth everywhere. And given the situation that we're in, I feel like we need this balanced type of approach where we're not stunting growth of some players, but we're also not totally giving up on the season, right? And quite frankly, I don't feel like the Reds in real life would get rid of Joey Votto. That's really what's holding me up, is that in real life, do you really feel like the Cincinnati Reds are going to get rid of Joey Votto and trade him away? Who would be more likely to get traded? Suarez, Schebler, or Joey Votto, right? And that's really what I want to stick with, is some semblance of realism in here, because that's what it was all about in the original, in the initial post, in the initial concept of this franchise, is that it's supposed to be realistic in transactions being made, right, and decisions being made. And I think Joey Votto is going to retire a Red. I just do, and I just think that when you guys look at some trade offers here for Votto, there's not really anything going to show up. You got the Orioles, Red Sox, Indians, Twins. That's pretty much it, right? And you're only getting one player. You're only getting one player back. And again, if we acquire Rick Porcello, like you're saving a ton of cap room. You're getting a starting pitcher, but you're stunning the growth of your other guys, right? Freddie Galvis, we don't really need a shortstop. Taylor Widener. We've already got young pitching. Matt Koch, 30-year-old, not interested. Jed Jerko, not interested. Take playing time away from Nick Senzel. DeSclafani, that's funny because we just traded him away. Gerardo, 1 player, B potential. Don't like it. Fernando Murillo, 21 years old, B potential. Avisail Garcia, we don't really need it because we got Pavin Smith in right field or Taylor Trammell in right field. So, I mean, just look at these offers, guys. There's just nothing there, right? And there's nothing there because he's an 80 overall and he's got a ton of contract. But again, if you do that, you've got a ton of money to spend here. You're just going to be stunting the growth of these other players that you're trying to groom, that you're trying to grow, right? So I'm taking the balanced approach. I'm hedging my bets, basically. If we suck, then I know at least I didn't stunt the growth of the younger guys. If we actually do pretty good, well, Votto is still going to be contributing on that good team by his 90 contact and 84 contact. So, I mean, we're taking a hit with payroll, but he's still going to be contributing in some way, shape, and form, while still being able to grow some of our younger players. So that is a move that I don't want to make, is doing that. I'm not trading Joey Votto. Fun to think about, being transparent, wanted to let you guys see that, but it's a move that I'm not going to make. So let's go ahead and simulate further. The Cubs end up getting Brad Hand, so it kind of bites us in the butt there. So we do have to play against him this season. George Springer going to the Blue Jays, who are spending a ton of money lately. An absolute ton of money. We ended up not signing anybody from the arbitration. We did get some people with tender contracts, so we did get Aquino, Franks, Stevenson, Tabor, Leyba, Wilson. So we got most of our guys back. This is good. So our cash flow got dropped down to $795. So again, that is a situation that we have to monitor. Let's just see if our boy here is available now. Let's just see real quick if he's available, because that's definitely a trade that I want to do. Did they re-sign him yet? They have not re-signed him quite yet. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. Roberto Osuna goes to the Rangers. The Mets get Ken Giles. The Blue Jays get James Paxton. So Paxton, the Canadian, goes to Canada. So guys, they are just absolutely spending a ton of money here in this free agency. Even in last season, they got Rizzo, they got Sale a few years ago. The Blue Jays are going off. Brewers signed Quintana. Interesting. Arbitration. So we did get Leclerc and Trey Turner. Tender contracts. We are down now to 415. So who did we get? Reds signed players. Trey Turner, Leclerc, Aquino, Stevenson, Franks, Bryce. Okay, so everything's pretty much the same here. Let's go ahead and see if our boy is yet again available. No, he's not. Interesting. We might be able to get him for free, and then we can trade Barnhart at a later date. But regardless, Stevenson's got to be our guy. Just has to. Diamondbacks get Marcus Stroman. Chris Archer goes to the Phillies. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, let's continue on, guys. Let's continue to sim. Really nothing happening on the free agent front. We did get Jesse Winker, so what did that do to our contract now? 133 for cash flow. So there's pretty much nothing you can do. It's absolutely crazy. We have one more day, though, to get our 40-man roster set. So you kind of got to make a decision now, right, guys? So let's go ahead and see now if he's still unsigned. This would suck if he's still unsigned. Yep, he's still unsigned. Dang it. So we're just going to go ahead and set the 40-man roster right now and get that done. And it's going to have to be Mela. Mela's going to be on the 40-man. And, Thomas Moore might have to get up there. We could let him simmer down there in the AAA level right now. Kareem Mela, again, even if he's on the 40-man, is he really going to help us with starting pitching at this point? So we're going to have Tyler Mahle. We got Kendall Graveman. Amir Garrett, we're going to release. Romano, we're also going to release. So there you go. Trevatio, we're going to release. That frees up some spots here. So, I mean, maybe if we had to call anybody up like real quick, then he might be a guy that we could consider. Right, the 74 velocity is not too fast. Got to protect them, though. If you want to keep him, you got to protect him. So that's kind of the decision that we have to make here, right? Jackson Stevens was another player that we were looking at. Jackson Stevens, 26, single A type of player. Maybe we'll let him go. Maybe we'll let him walk. If he doesn't get taken, he doesn't get taken, right? So I think the next guy to get called up on the 40-man would probably have to be Joe Hudson. No joke. If we're gonna trade Barnhart, Hudson's got to be our backup catcher. Has to do it. Yeah, I mean, even looking at Rowdy Reed and Hudson comparisons. Well, maybe not, because we could call up Reed. Reed wouldn't be too bad. I mean, he'd be a backup guy, right? We don't need three catchers on the 40-man. If Reed can get on this 40-man and get called up to be our backup catcher, that's fine. I know Joe Hudson would be kind of pissed because, I mean, he's a little bit better in the arm and the vision for sure. A little bit better of a hitter. I say you just do it. I say you just let Reed get the call up. He is a 71 overall, right? So you're not losing too much there. But to finish off our 40-man, Ryan Franks still needs some seasoning, I feel like. I want to see how this guy does. Thomas Moore might be our guy. So guys, I am going to make the decision here. Thomas Moore is going to get on the 40-man roster. And the decision why I'm doing that is because, think about this. If Pollock gets hurt, we can have play center field. Taylor Trammell, right? Then you basically got Winker, Trammell, Aquino, and Pavin Smith, right? And when if Votto starts to struggle and he gets limited like a bench role or we have to move him, you're going to move Pavin Smith to first base. Then that means right field is going to be manned by Aquino. And quite frankly, that doesn't make me feel too comfortable. So, especially the contact numbers. So Thomas Moore, if you have to give him a call up, he's available, right? He's on the 40-man roster. So congratulations, Mr. Thomas Moore. You have been called onto that 40-man. And now I was really debating on whether or not I wanted to get Ryan Franks involved in the 40-man, but again, looking at his arm strength for a third baseman, it doesn't really cut out for a third baseman. That power is legit, though. It's something that I really considered. Maybe if in a pinch we needed a pinch hitter to like get called up here in case of an injury to Senzel, or we had to move Peraza over to third, or Shed Long can play a little third base, something like that. Maybe Blandino can play a little third base. I think we're letting Blandino go, though. Might need to reconsider that. Might need to sign Blandino again. But yeah, basically you're not calling up Ryan Franks to play third base, right? He would play first base. Maybe he's the first baseman of the future. Maybe Pavin Smith plays right field. I don't know. We're going to have to see how he pans out. But I did call him up to AAA just to kind of see how he's going to translate, because all those numbers that he had last year, those big-time power numbers, were down at the AA level. So I'm sticking him in AAA, see how he does. We can always figure it out from there. But actually, now we have 38 men on our roster, our 40-man. Ooh, this opens things up now, doesn't it, boys? All right. So I don't know. Look at this, guys. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I don't know who did that. Why is Giovanni Gallardo getting paid for 8 seasons? 8 seasons. I didn't do that. That's messed up. That is messed up. Who would ever sign him for that? That is absolutely crazy. Okay, so enough talk about that, though. All right, so we've got 38 men on our 40-man. So you know what? Let's do that. 40-man roster for Ryan Franks. Okay, cool. And then I want Kevin Maitan on the 40-man. I feel like Kevin Maitan's really going to take a step forward this season. Look at the contact, 50-60, powers 50-55. He's an all-around good player, 77 arm, very, very talented. All Alright guys, so here we are at spring training. It's officially starting, and yet again, we are going up against the Cleveland Indians to start our spring training and Corey Kluber. This is like, what, 3 years in a row now? Pretty interesting that it's Carrasco versus Kluber, though. One former Indian and one current Indian. So, pretty funny that the Cleveland Indians decided to go after Kluber after he was pretty much on the open market for quite a while, almost a month. So, currently looking at free agents, and Amir Garrett is still sitting there. So technically we could try to go after him and go sign him right now. But yet again, I don't want to do that, even though it would kind of help us in some situations, right? Signing him would probably pit him, it would definitely pit him overall better than Ryan Yarbrough or Kendall Graveman, even Tyler Mahle for sure. But it's still kind of that same deal, guys. It's just, it would push back Mahle and Green, and possibly Ambrose. He's starting to work his way up there. One of our more recent draft picks, actually our first-year draft pick, and it's just not a move that I think that we should technically make. I really don't feel like we should do it. So we're gonna go ahead now and simulate real quick. And by the way, Tucker Barnhart is still on the roster. Every time I try to trade for Sealy Matthias here, they won't let me do it. Our injury situation is forcing us to hold on. Like, what injury situation? Nobody's hurt in this situation. Nobody. Well, like, this trade should happen like right now. So it doesn't even matter. I don't know. I don't really get that. I can even go to disabled list and nobody's hurt, right? Is anybody even hurt on the Kansas City Royals? No. So I don't know what that is. I hope that MLB The Show maybe fixes that. It's probably a little bit too late for that. So we're just gonna roll with Tucker Barnhart being our starting catcher. I know that I said that I wanted Tyler Stevenson to kind of take that role over, and look, 79 to 77. Like, you can see the writing on the wall here, right? That Stevenson's going to potentially take this role over. The big thing for me is that eventually, if we suck, maybe even do this trade in spring training. But if we end up sucking in the regular season, then Tucker Barnhart is first on my chopping block. So guys, we finished spring training at 17 and 12. Pretty dang good, honestly. Quite a turn of events. Let's take a look and see how our team did, though. 30 strikeouts for Castillo and only 10 walks, 4.75. Maybe he's working on some things. Carrasco went 6-0 in spring. 40 innings, though. 35 strikeouts, 5 walks. Keuchel, not too good. Not too good there. Want to see a little bit more. Kendall Graveman pitched pretty well for what he can do. Justin Nicolino didn't even get an inning. Good job, MLB The Show. 14 innings for Tyler Mahle, so he pitched pretty decent. And Hunter Green went 7 2/3 with a struggling ERA. Jared Ambrose did not get any work. That's frustrating as well. Mela didn't get any work. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I really hate that. Andrew Miller, Crockett's struggling. Leclerc struggling. Miller kind of struggling. Danny Norris, not too good. Mike Lorenzen, not too good. Finnegan, not too good. Bryce pitched very well. Gallardo didn't get any work. Good. I'm glad he didn't get any work. Tucker Barnhart is currently hurt. He's only out for a couple days, though, but he did hit. He hit 301. Tyler Stevenson went 0 for 12. 0 for 12 in spring action. Not good. So I think we've ultimately made our decision, right? Maybe Stevenson isn't really ready for the big time. Joey Votto, 402, boys. 402. 7 home runs, 19 ribbies, 208 for Pavin Smith. So we got to work on him. We got to work on him a little bit. Tyler White, 148. Jeanette still continuing to do that kind of that grindy type of batting average, 267. Shedlong, 222. Nick Senzel took a big step forward this spring, guys. 337. Gotta love that. 21 home run or 21 RBIs, 6 homers. 310 for Ryan Frank. So yet again, he is looking legit. Trey Turner had a pretty decent spring, 256, 305 for Peraza, 286. Leyba didn't get any work. Maitan, 154. Winker, 276. Trammell, nice to see that, 292. Wimberly. Thomas Moore, though. Ooh, Thomas Moore. hitting that 432. But he dropped down to a 69 overall. I don't know what that's all about. So he's upset about his contract and a bench role. So maybe that's because he's up on the MLB level. Interesting. But 265 for Pollock, so he's still performing as well. Aquino, 235, 2 home runs. You would have liked to see some more home runs out of him, but it is what it is. So there rounds out your Reds performances from spring training. Now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and set the 40-man roster and get the Major League level set, so that way we don't run into any problems for the regular season. So I will be right back. All right, guys, so here is your starting pitching rotation for 2021. Castillo, Carrasco, Keuchel, Graveman, and Tyler Mahle. So he had a huge jump in the spring, guys. You guys saw it. Bumped up there by 2. He was a 74, now he's a 76, so gotta love it. And then we got Danny Norris and Ryan Yarbrough as the long relief options, potentially to move Graveman and Mahle out of the rotation if they struggle. Weiss, Lorenzen in the middle, Leclerc, Crockett, and Miller in this kind of setup role. Then again, we could swap out Miller and Leclerc as we see fit. Just kind of really hit on that aspect, is that we might want to rotate those guys out. As far as no DH lineups, here's your lineup, guys. Here is who is on the big league club. Trey Turner, Winker, Votto, Smith in right field, Jeanette at second, Senzel at third, Pollock in center, and Tyler Stevenson at catcher right now. We've also got Barnhart kind of on the mend, but check this out. Stevenson's a 79, Tucker Barnhart's a 77. Taylor Trammell is on the bench, Jose Peraza is on the bench, Aristides Aquino is a 78 in right field, kind of tying that up with Pavin Smith. And Smith is just kind of unhappy right now with his current contract, so that's really what's contributing to the overall right now. So I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe his overall has now exceeded what he's being paid, so that could be a factor, but there's no way that we can like re-sign them mid-season, so that's just not going to happen. But Wilmer Defoe did make the big club, and that's mostly, you guys will see this, I had to put Nicolino on waivers, and I did that because he's out of minor league options. I hope he doesn't get scooped up, but the CPU, like, no matter what I did, it just forced him to be on the Major League roster, which sucks, even though I've strictly said that 40-man roster is manual. It still did it anyway, so had to push him down to get Graveman up into that spot. And then you guys will also notice that I had to do the same thing for Rowdy Reed to get Stevenson up, because Stevenson was in the AAA level and Reed was at the Major League level. Hopefully that this all works out and that both players will pass through the waiver system, and if not, I just might have to back out, and then we'll go from there. But just don't want to see those guys get lost. I don't want to lose them. Ryan Franks, even though he had a pretty good spring, again, just nowhere really to put him right now, so he's gonna have to be in that AAA level. Shed Long didn't do enough in the spring to warrant a call-up. We do have Peraza at 79 overall to play backup second baseman and be that kind of like that utility guy, because he can play third. Trey Turner can also play third. So, you know, there's some options here at backup third baseman that we didn't really need Shed Long on the roster. Taylor Trammell, again, backup left fielder. Thomas Moore did not have, actually he had a pretty good, I thought he had a pretty good spring if I'm remembering right, but again, he's going to be on the 40-man roster, and if we need him, we'll give him the call-up. Alfonso Anaya just, again, didn't really do a whole lot to get called up. Again, it's just the defensive aspect. Really, he's just kind of that guy that we're going to just bring up to pinch run and pinch hit. So that's really all that he's going to be able to do. And then right field, Aristides Aquino. There you go. So there's your roster, guys. I'm going to go ahead and save it in case we do lose both of those players to waivers, which I don't want, but it could happen. And then we're going to go ahead and simulate the 2021 regular season. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Seconds, actually. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Let's go ahead now and simulate just a week by week, just see what's going to happen here real quick. Fingers crossed, guys. Hopefully this works. Auto fix the lineups. This is fine. Barnhart's no longer injured. Ooh, we're winning this game. I'm gonna stop simulating. I'm gonna turn critical situations off though. See, look at that. Manual. 40-man manual. Don't know why I did it. Critical situations will turn off. And then let's continue on. So we're 3-3 at this point. We're 3-3. And did we lose anybody in the waiver system? No, we did not. So Nicolino is still here, and then catching Rowdy Reed is still there. Thank God. Thank God. All right, boys. Let's continue on. Let's keep on simming. See how we're going to do here. Trey Turner sustained an injury. Okay, let's back out. Let's back out of this. Again, this is just kind of how this is going to work, guys. We gotta we have to monitor these situations. So out for 1 to 2 months. Let's put him on torn hamstring. Good God. 1 to 2 months. It's about 30 to 60 days. Let's move him to the 10. We'll be fine at the 10, and then we will also look at our roster here and see what we need. So we need one more player. We have 38 people on the 40-man right now, so we do need to add one more player there. And then on the active, we need to add one more guy. So who are we going to add? Stevenson, Barnhart, Votto, Smith, Jeanette, Shedlong. Shedlong's hitting 261 right now. Frank's hitting 143 at the AAA level, so that's kind of sucky for him. Defoe is currently not doing a whole lot. Maitan hitting 333, so he's 7 for 21 right now. That's not bad. Taylor Trammell hitting 250. Winker 295. 423 for Thomas Moore. Gotta love that. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. We don't really need any outfield help because he's going to be out for 1 to 2 months. So we need some middle infield help for sure. Let's, how many options does Shedlong have? I'd say we call up Shedlong, honestly, because when we get Jose Peraza here playing shortstop, he's probably going to get pretty tired, pretty exhausted, which means that Defoe is going to have to step in and be our shortstop. Second base, you got to have, at that point then you have to have a backup for second base, because Jeanette's going to end up getting tired. You don't have a backup second baseman. So looks like Shedlong is going to get the call up. So welcome, Shed. You're on the roster. Tyler Stevenson, broken hand, out 2 to 3 months. That's going to be a 60-day DL, no doubt about it. So let's back out here, make some more changes. And because Rowdy Reed is hitting 231, plus he's out of minor league options, which means we would have to, if we call him up, we'd have to move him down again through waiver system. I added Joe Hudson to the 40-man roster right now. It sucks because we're probably going to have to move somebody off the 40-man when Turner and Stevenson come back, which means we're also going to have to consider waivers at that point. So Joe Hudson is going to move on up to the major leagues to be the backup catcher to Tucker Barnhart. Okay, so to end the month of April, we are 15-16, so we're not doing terribly. So let's go ahead and simulate past May, and then I'll give you guys a statistics update as well. So we got another injury to catching position, guys. Tucker Barnhart is now hurt for 1 to 2 months again with another fractured forearm. Guys, it's not looking good for Tucker Barnhart. We should have traded him when we had the chance. Blake Snell is acquired by the Twins for Trevor Hildenberger, Fernando Romero, and Miguel Arturo. Wow, that's a huge get. So let's back out real quick and just see where we're at here. We're 22-19, so we're playing better than we did last year for sure. As far as catching goes, though, we've got 2 catchers on the DL, Stevenson and Tucker Barnhart. This is a terrible, terrible situation, guys. You know, Joe Hudson is our starting catcher right now, so we need a backup, and it kind of sucks because we're gonna have to call up Rowdy Reed again. I mean, We're 22-19. It's not like we can sit here and call up Chris O'Kee or Donnie Sands or anything. So we have to do it. We have to take our chances. He's hitting 279 at the AAA level. Let's call him up. Plus, he's already on the 40-man roster. Got to do what you got to do. Got to do what you got to do. We got 2 catchers out. That's awful. Awful, awful. Taylor Trammell, torn finger ligament, out 1 to 2 months. It just doesn't get any easier, boys. It does not get any easier. Left field is now an issue. Injuries up the wazoo. We got Trey Turner down. We got Taylor Trammell down. We got both of our catchers are down. This absolutely sucks. It sucks big time. But it looks like Thomas Moore is starting to really turn the corner here in his career. He's a 74 overall right now. I say, let's call him up because he's already on the 40-man roster. Give him a ring. And if we have to call him down, that's okay. I was thinking maybe we could call up Anaya. Get him on the 40-man roster right now because right now we're at 37. We're at 37 men on the 40. So you could technically put him on the 40-man roster, not worry about when he has to get called down. That might be the better option. Because when I think about it logically, guys, I do want to play to win, right? But looking at it logically, who's more likely to get scooped up if you have to put them through trade waivers or like irrevocable waivers? Or get them off the 40-man? If you want to remove somebody off the 40-man, you have to pass them through irrevocable waivers, right? So who's more likely to get picked up? Thomas Moore or Alfonso Anaya, right? And when Trammell comes back, when Stevenson comes back, when Barnhart comes back, when Trey Turner comes back, you're going to have to make room for these people, right? And you're going to have to move some guys down. Let's put Alfonso Anaya on the 40-man. Let's call him up to the majors. Get him some pinch hit opportunities, right? And then if we got to move him down, we can do that. Nobody's going to claim a 72 overall with a C potential, right? Then nobody's going to do that. So let's just run with that. We'll be okay, and we're not going to lose. We're not going to lose our big time player here in Thomas Moore. But take a look here at the standings. Currently at 23-19, we're 3.5 games back. We're 8-2 in our last 10. So honestly, this team is performing. This team is performing compared to last season where we were at. Shed long for Henry Owens. That's probably a no. That's probably a no. 28 years old, 79, pitcher. I mean, he does help us out. But he hasn't seen any Major League action. Even when he does see Major League action, he does not sim very well at all. That velocity is terrible at 47. This is a no-go for me. Okay, so Tyler Mahle is now injured for 1 to 2 months with a torn pectoral. Just real quick, guys, just look at this. Just look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Trey Turner, Trammell, Stevenson, Barnhart, Mahle. This is getting a little ridiculous, honestly, so I am going to go up in here and change some injury sliders because, honestly, this is getting stupid. All right, so statistics update after that really ridiculous injury, guys, to Tyler Mahle. It means, you know what that means. It's Hunter Green time. It's Hunter Green time to move up to the Major League team. And, you know, at this point, if we decide to move him down, he's also going to be running out of options. So we're also going to have to figure out another way to figure out our 40-man when people start coming back. But Hunter Green looks like he's going to stay up at the Major League level from this point. Bada boom, bada bing. So Hunter Green, welcome, sir. You are now, I mean, he's got one more option, so we can move him down, but he's still on the 40-man, so we're okay. You got one more option, which sucks because we're using a lot of these options here when people come back. All right, with Trey Turner back now, guys, we can actually go ahead and call somebody down. And looking at who that might be, it's not Wilmer Defoe because he's out of options. It's going to have to be Shed Long. He's hitting 219 currently, and he's got 3 more options left to go. It's going to have to be Shed Long. So now that Trey Turner's back, it makes sense, right? So when we're looking at the lineups, Trey Turner is still in our lineup here, so that's good. I like that. Now, as far as a update goes, statistics update, take a look. 5-5 for Luis Castillo, so he's by far not performing like a 93. Keuchel's performing very well. Carrasco pretty decently. Graveman Sims really well, guys. 2.76 with a 1.19. And Hunter Green, 6 innings in his first major league start. 7 Ks with a 1.5 and a 0.8. I say it's time to keep Hunter Green into the rotation, don't you guys? Jared Ambrose at 3.8. So all these guys are doing pretty well here at the AAA level. I like to see that. Let's go ahead and look at our relieving options. We got Andrew Miller. How many saves does he have right now? 16 saves in 17 innings, so he's almost perfect in that regard. Jose Leclerc, not too good. Danny Norris pitching really well in that relief option. 1.14 with a 0.9, so that was a pretty good trade for us. Mike Lorenzen with a 2.6, Weiss with a 3.8. Yeah, this team's looking pretty solid. And then we've got Joe Hudson at 264, so he's not doing too bad. Rowdy Reed at 300, so he's 3 for 10. Can't argue against that production. Joey Votto, guys, 360. He's got 11 stolen bases. How's he doing that? 20 speed, 364 though. He's doing really well, really well in his final season. We got Pavin Smith at a 286, not bad. Scooter Gennett, 293. Nick Senzel, 330. Yes, that's what I love to see. Nick Senzel, 330, 13 bombs, 42. That's awesome. Ryan Franks right behind him, though, 293 with 12 bombs at the AAA level. So it just doesn't stop for Ryan Franks, guys. Drafted 2 years ago. Gotta love this player. Hit a bunch of home runs down at the AA level last season, and it's just continuing. So this guy's a beast. He's a ball player for sure. Peraza hitting 240, Defoe 182. If I had a choice, I would move him down, but you know, someone's gonna claim a major league ready shortstop. First, I got to check out. Let's check out Jose Israel Garcia here at AAA. To 303, Kevin Maitan 327. So remember what I said about Maitan, guys? He's gonna take the next step. Gotta love it, guys. Domingo Leyba, 284. So the former Diamondback prospect that we acquired last season is doing pretty well down here. We got a bunch of shortstops, young shortstops that I'm really excited about. Also, Thomas Moore at the AAA level, still hitting 296. Roger Wimberly at the AAA level, 313. Winker, 256. Pollock, 297. Anaya at 286 at the major league level. So he's definitely more than pulling his weight right now. And then you get Aquino here at 197. So if there was any guy that I would move down, it'd be Aquino with that one more option. But I don't want to do it. It's too early. It's too early in the season to start moving guys down like that. So we're playing some 500 ball right now. I mean, it's not. I'm not technically too happy with it. Let's just simulate the draft. We don't really need to focus on that too much. Let's let the CPU do it. Yeah, we're going to auto-utilize that. We need to go back and fix this roster up. But we're not doing too bad, guys. Steven's actually jumping to an 80 now. Tucker Barnhart is 73. It might be because he's hurt, though. Joe Hudson. Yeah, Joe Hudson's going to get the call down. Did really well for us, hit 273. But when Barnhart comes back, we might need to trade Barnhart after he comes back and just let Rowdy Reed stick up here in the major leagues. Because, guys, think about this. When we do trade Barnhart for a player that we want, Reed is going to have to get moved down, and that's technically not something I want to do because look at that. He's performing. He's performing. And he's going to get picked up by somebody, right? So just don't want that to happen. All right, let's keep on simming. And now we get Taylor Trammell coming back as well. So that means Alfonso Anaya can get moved down. Or we keep Alfonso Anaya because look at what he's doing, guys. He's the one who's performing, not Aristides Aquino, right? I think that's the move to make, right? He's not going to play. He's not going to play. He's going to basically be that pinch hitter type of guy which is what he's been doing. And now that you got Trammell and Winker, you know, kind of splitting some time here. Trammell is the starter now. Interesting. Winker is not doing so hot compared to last season. So let's call down Aquino. Let's move him down to AAA. Yes, that's what we want to do. And we're going to keep Alfonso Anaya up. So that leaves a void out there in right field. Even though he wasn't playing a whole lot, you know, we've got Pavin Smith out there in right field for sure. So, all right. Seems like the team's performing, guys. Doing really well. Doing really well. I'm really impressed with how the team is playing. All right, so as we enter July, we're at 500 at 43 and 43. So again, we're doing pretty solid. Look at this though. Ryan Franks had an outstanding month of June, batting 358. 358. Nathaniel Williamson batting really well too. Guys, our draft picks are doing awesome. Really, really awesome. Votto's still doing well, 316. Pavin Smith kind of struggling though, 238 now. Franks now has 17 home runs with a 305 batting average at the AAA level. This guy's a monster. This guy's an absolute monster. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going, and then we'll see if any of our guys got into the All-Star game. Ooh, trade. Adam Halsley for Jared Ambrose. I'm halfway tempted, but I'm probably gonna decline. I mean, look at these numbers, right? You got a 71 overall pitcher with a B potential compared to a left fielder, something that honestly we don't technically really need. Right, he is hitting 293 though. Ooh, Phillies, why you gotta make me think so hard? Trammell's hitting 267, Winker's starting to pick it up, Pollock, we got Smith out in right field. Adam Halsley. Yikes, this is tough. It's a tough trade decision. Very tough. Then again, we don't really need any outfielders, right? I mean, we got Thomas Moore, we got Wimberly here. Got Marcus Wilson. I'm probably more likely to decline it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to decline. Let's keep on simming. Okay, guys, so Barnhart is now off the DL. We need to make some hard decisions. We are now over 500 at 47 and 46, and currently we are trailing the Cardinals and the Brewers by 7 games. So that sucks, but it is what it is. Let's see the All-Star voting real quick. Do we have anybody that's... Ooh, Danny Norris. Danny Norris, relief pitcher. He's the first one. He's getting all the votes. Yeah, baby, 188 with a 103 for Danny Norris. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Everybody who was against that, stick it. Votto, 315 right now. Nice, 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 nice. Joe Panic, 264. I don't really see any of our guys here. Look at Adam Halsley is in the All-Star voting. 12 home runs, 37 RBIs, 9 stolen bases. Seemed like that would be a trade that I would have made, right? It would have helped us this season, right? Jared Ambrose. But then again, I don't want to trade away our future like that, our future with our pitching staff. Okay, guys, so now that Tucker Barnhart is back, we have to move Rowdy Reed down. And it sucks because I didn't want to do that, but given that we're 1 game over 500 and we're not playing too bad, we're only 7 games out, you know, a lot could happen here. I don't feel like we need to trade Tucker Barnhart. I know that I said I wanted to do that, but I just can't really pull the trigger on that. So let's just continue on. All right, guys, so as we sit here at 55 and 55, kind of a state of the Reds statement right here. At 55 and 55, it doesn't look like we're doing anything in 2021. Now, the knee-jerk reaction would be to start trading away everybody, right? Trade away all your pieces, right? But hold on for just a second, okay? Because when we look at the contract situations of our players, we're not doing too bad with the contract situation. We got a lot of people locked up for long term, right? except for Nick Senzel. He's going to be asking for a lot of money after this performance this season, which is fine because we'll have money to pay him. I'm going to hold on to our players. You heard that correctly. I'm going to hold on to our players. Votto is likely to retire. We got a bunch of money coming off the books, almost $800,000+ per week to spend on free agents for next year. What positions those are and what positions we're going to address, I'm not sure yet. But all I know is that at age 37, in his final year of his contract, Joey Votto is going to retire. And even if he doesn't, we're not re-signing him. It's not going to happen, right? Pavin Smith will be the full-time first baseman. We'll probably end up getting a big-time second baseman if there are any available. I mean, just look at our younger guys here too. Luis Garcia, 285. Nice, at AAA. So, what positions those are going to be, like I said, I'm not sure. But at 55 and 55, the knee-jerk reaction, like I said, would be to just trade everybody away. Trade all your top people away, get the young guys in, right? I think we got one more year. We got one more year in us. But we really got to see what the team is going to look like without Joey Votto first. Don't trade away Jeanette, Trey Turner, Winker, Pollock. You know, don't do all this stuff yet, right? We might be able to get away with trading Pollock because he doesn't really make any sense for us next season, right? At 34 years old, we could trade away AJ Pollock in this episode. And looking at Alfonso Anaya hitting 331, good God. Taylor Trammell is going to be our center fielder for next year. That's no ifs, ands, buts about it. That's what's going to happen. So trading Pollock would be the guy that you move, not Votto, not all these other players, right? But you know, like I said, the knee-jerk reaction would be, no, trade Joey Votto now because he's pointless. He's going to retire, right? Well, you want him to retire a Red. And if anything, if we do make a miraculous run, he's going to be a part of it. He's hitting 319, right? So you hang on to a guy like Joey Votto. So let's go ahead and trade AJ Pollock. As much as I hate to do it, it does help us. So you gotta consider it, right? So I'm gonna look at these offers and I'll get right back to you guys. All right, guys. So this is gonna end up being the move that I make. Now, when we were talking about the Royals right fielder, Sayuli Matias, and trading Tucker Barnhart away, that one I really liked because of the numbers that he had. And looking at the Yankees' Pedro Gonzalez, this 23-year-old, 69 overall with a B potential, again, if we're trading away an outfielder, might as well acquire one, right? And at 23 years old, sweet, right? He's got 64 power, 55 power. The contact is pretty good. Like that. The arm is a 69, so we can work on that a little bit. But the speed, I like this player is very comparable to Matias. So I like Pedro Gonzalez right now at 23. It saves us some cap space too for the year, right? It's not like, I mean, we're going to lose that cap space anyway with Pollock being gone in 2022. So we might as well make this trade now, secure up Pedro Gonzalez, own him, own the rights to him, and then obviously re-sign him next year as well. So this is a good move for us. Let's do this. Let's give. I hate helping the Yankees, but you know, this is a trade that we had to make. So with that being done, guys, that's going to be the only move that we make for the trade deadline. Like I said, you know, trading Votto doesn't really do us a whole lot. Maybe, just maybe, if we make a nice little run here and we do make the playoffs, then it was all worth it, right? But Votto's going to be off the books no matter what, and might as well do that, right? Plus, we got center field options already. Like, we don't have really a backup plan at first base other than Pavin Smith, and then after that, there's really nobody there, right? So you get that backup outfielders like Taylor Trammell some more time. That way you can kind of groom them in there. Pollock was just kind of blocking him a little bit. It helps. It helps in the long term. So let's continue to simulate, see how we do. Guys, so we ended up making a huge run right there. We are 73 and 66, but look, the NL Central is just way too competitive this season, guys. 84 and 56 for the Cardinals, 76 and 62 for the Brewers. So we're only a couple games out of second place. And if we look at this, the standings here real quick, you guys will notice that we're only 3 games out of the wild card. We're 3 games out of the wild card. Okay, that's not like it's not doable. Okay, so you just cross your fingers here and hope that we make it. Okay, let's cross your fingers here and hope we make it. All right, guys, so here's the situation. Take a look at what we did. Absolute tear right here. This final stretch. Well, not the final stretch, but here, like right here. Boom. Nice wins right there. This comes down to the last game of the season. We got Carrasco against Suter. And guys, take a look at the standings real quick. We are tied. A 5-way tie for the last wildcard spot. Rockies and Giants do play against each other. It all comes down to this last simulation, guys. Are we going to win and make the playoffs or not? We won! Okay, 9-0. We win. We win 9-0. Holy crap. Did we make it? Did we make it, though? Oops. Nope. Shoot. Nope. Nope. Did we make it? Did we make it into the playoffs? There's a 2-way tie. There's a 2-way tie. So the Nationals lost. The Braves lost. Where are the Braves at? I thought the Braves were up here. Where are they at? Oh, they must have won the National League East. Yep, so there you go. So there was almost a tie there. Okay. All right, so it's the Reds and the Giants. Who they decide wins, I have no idea. But I think we made it, guys. I think we made it. So there's a 1-game playoff. There's a 1-game playoff. We're in the 1-game playoff, guys. So you know what? Since this is totally turned on a dime, this situation is totally turned on a dime, I'm going to end this episode, and I will see you guys next Friday for 1-game playoff action between the Reds and the Giants. This is absolutely crazy. I did not anticipate this to happen, but possibly maybe the trade of A.J. Pollock really helped. I mean, just take a look here. Defensively speaking, you know, Taylor Trammell probably a little bit better out there in center field, and he's hitting 267, so he's holding his own, right? Jesse Winker's playing well. Alfonso Anaya was doing really well, right? He's hitting. Look at those contact numbers, guys. I'm amazed every time I look at it. Trey Turner picking it up. Nick Senzel, 24 bombs, 286. We got Franks that got the call-up, the September call-up. Jeanette's doing well. Pavin Smith and Votto still doing some work here. Guys, this team has really come together, and, you know, we were right. We were right, and Hunter Green is up to an 80, so he had a +6. That's unreal, guys. So we were right in our analysis here to make this final run. So this is amazing. Joey Votto being a part of this team, too. Hopefully we can pull this off and win another World Series. A miraculous run for another World Series before it all gets blown to shreds. So, guys, I'll see you on Friday for the next one. Go Reds, and as always, peace.